As a multifamily broker, I get asked all the time by investors, Beau, how do you determine which owners to call to go after their listings? Well, give me a few minutes and I'll explain. Let's go! I was recently on Jerome Myers Podcast called Multifamily Missteps. And we talked about all the different pieces of information that I track to help me determine which asset is most opportune for a disposition. Take a listen. The basis of everything I did was many years ago, I exported every single apartment asset in all the markets I work in. I exported them from property appraiser websites. You as an investor and me as a broker and a lender, I believe that is the number one thing you can do is what is every single asset that I could ever transact? Because if you don't have that, you're just shooting in the dark. If you're just driving by assets and say, I would like to own that, or you're relying on some third-party WeWork guy to send you a list, you ain't doing it. Property appraisers want to tax properties. It's the only source that has every complex. I then imported all those assets into a CRM, sorted them by all kinds of metrics, number of units, bedrooms, type of construction, age, who owns it, what they paid for it, and a whole bunch of other columns. Then started looking up contact information. I would call the investors. And I built my business initially by finding out what investors like to buy. I didn't call them up saying, hey, do you want to sell so-and-so? Because I knew every broker on the planet was doing that. I wanted to find out, what do you like to buy? How many units do you like to buy? Do you buy market rate? Do you buy student? Do you have any age limitations? What kind of value add do you like? Do you stay under 5,000 a unit? Can you go up to 20,000 a unit? All kinds of questions I asked you, and I would type all this in. And inevitably, when you make 1,000 phone calls, there's going to be 3 or 4 people who say, but we're not looking to buy anymore. But I tell you what, we own so-and-so apartments over on Main Street. We were thinking about selling that in January. Happy to have you do a valuation on it. Great. Boom. I would list that. And then I'd go back into my database of all the buyers and their criteria. And I would take thousands of people that I've taken their criteria from, and I would narrow it down to the exact 68 human beings that want that 25 unit apartment complex in Daytona Beach, built in 1982, that hasn't sold in the last 2 years, that has $7,000 worth of renovations left. Boom, 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 boom. All these indexes. And I'd make phone calls. So none of my stuff ever went on a website, and I would never get past 8 or 10 phone calls and it's sold. Everything's been database driven, analytics and algorithms. So for 20 years, I've been perfecting in my system. Every loan that comes up, it's in my system. When it last sold, I can do calibrations on when I think a complex is going to sell based on what the global averages are and the type of owner. I know certain syndications are in and out in 3 years. I know certain ones are 5 years. So when they buy something, I'm already putting in an indicator to call them in 2 years because I know they always sell in 3 years. So I'm tracking a whole bunch of different indexes based on the physicality of the asset, the type of owner entity, when the loan's coming up. So when I walk in on my computer, it tells me the 4 phone calls I have to make today based on entries I did last month, last year, or 10 years ago. And I'm wrong most of the time, but I'm right a whole lot.
This is amazing. So Beau's using the technology to make him really intelligent, like outside of actually building it. So the algorithm is saying, hey, high likelihood of sell.
Now, after hearing all that, as a multifamily investor, I can tell you your time is far better spent developing relationships with as many good multifamily brokers as possible, because tracking that amount of information is dizzying. If this video was valuable, please give me a like down below. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell right next to it so you're made aware of each of my videos that come out. See you guys in the next one.